mighty companions, and welcome back to Transforming Relationships Through A Course in Miracles with the Quinns, Anna and Greg.
All right.
Glad to see you guys, and thanks for tuning in, and thanks for joining us for this Miracles Hour.
And we have the random number generator live, ready on zero to see what Holy Spirit would have us to read together, to learn together, to be aware of, to put into practice and learn in our relationships.
So that we can have happier, healthier, more abundant relationships all around. Sound practical?
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
All right, Holy Spirit, and y'all, you know what we need?
All y'all.
And go ahead and push it, baby. 22.
Okay. So
I was almost on 22 there.
Yeah, right here, and it's 9.
9.
So we put in 9. There you go.
Very touchy.
All right, and the title of this chapter is The Function of the Holy Relationship. Speaking of holy relationships, oh, you have to tap it. So it's 6.
You tapped it. This is what we wanted.
Yes, so 6.
The need to defend.
The need to defend. Oh, I was experiencing some of that today. Experience where I felt like for a second there, I thought I needed to defend. I'm so glad I was wrong.
22-6.
I'm so glad I was wrong. I really did not need to defend. All right.
Sometimes we think we do.
And then we attack in the name of self-defense, and then what do we get? More attack.
More stuff to have grievances.
more stuff to have grievances of, more stuff that needs correct perception instead of defense. Okay, the need to defend. Now, in the blue covered edition, which is the edited version, the blue covered edition.
Yep. I'll look it up in there.
Okay.
I'll post it in the room. Hey, Jerry. Good to have you in here.
That's right. Hi, Jerry.
We're in chapter 22, Jerry, and section 6. The need.
And that's in the original edition.
Right.
So we don't know what it is yet in this book, but we'll get there. We'll see where that is. I'm going to guess it's there, 22, 478. All right, thank you for bearing with us.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to talk about, there was once these 3 little bears that walked into a bar, sat on a bar stool, and the 2 bears looked at the 3rd bear. Have you found it yet?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Because you did not know where that was going,
I'll tell you the rest
did
of that
you?
later.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
that was pretty smooth, y'all, wouldn't you say?
I don't want to interrupt the flow here.
What if I had not found it that quickly?
I would have had to tell the rest of it, but now...
You would have had to make something up.
Yeah, as if I was doing that.
As if. All right. So in the blue covered edition, it is chapter 22, section 5, and it's called Weakness and Defensiveness.
Ah.
Yes.
Weakness and defensiveness.
That's right. Which you could say weakness is defensiveness.
Yeah.
When you're defending yourself, you're in a weak position.
Yep.
And so the Course in Miracles tells us, I am in need of no defense, you know. And the Course in Miracles also tells us that we believe that to defend ourselves is to attack, and to attack is to defend ourselves, when really that is not how you defend yourself. That is not how you keep yourself safe and in peace. It's how you make more trouble for yourself.
Right.
So,
which is why our ego wants us to defend.
That's right.
Our ego wants us to think that, hey, everything's not working out for good.
I need to defend myself.
To come up with a plan and defend yourself.
That's right, exactly.
Because you know everything's not working out for you.
And what's that line? Your defenses do what they would defend against.
Right.
So you think you're defending yourself against somebody misinterpreting you, creates people misinterpreting you. So we're going to talk about the need to defend and how to correct that need. Okay. So the need to defend, or weakness and defensiveness.
And I just want to say, it's pretty interesting. Just before class, Anna and I were talking about what I suppose a lot of people would be talking about in this day and age that we live in, is, people breaking into our cars and just the overall safety of this world. And it seems like it gets crazier by the day out there. And here the Course shows up at our doorstep and says, hey, you don't need to defend yourself. And we're like, what? Have you been outside lately?
So perfect timing.
Good timing for the state of the world that we're in.
As usual. As usual, when we do random number generator, it will speak to exactly what we were just talking about or dealing with in some shape or form.
Yes, consistently.
Consistently.
Freaky.
Spooky. Spookily. All right. The need to defend, or weakness and defensiveness. How does one overcome problems? How does one overcome problems? And do you want to put the name of the section in there?
I did.
Okay, great. Beautiful. Excellent.
I didn't do it for the blue book, so I'll put that in there.
Okay. Beautiful. So, how does one overcome illusions, which means problems, issues, challenges? How does one overcome problems, which the Course in Miracles calls illusions? Did you know that A Course in Miracles calls problems illusions? Why does the Course in Miracles call problems illusions? It calls problems illusions because problems are not natural to reality. Problems are man-made. They're not natural. They're illusions. Problems come about because you're believing something that isn't true. So
that's the problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Not what comes from believing in something that's not true, like guilt or sin or separation. The problem is you're believing in something that isn't true, like guilt, fear, or separation.
Which is, of course, what an illusion is. It's just a big, fancy, long word, which means the lie.
The lie.
Believing the lie. How does one overcome believing in the lie, what's not true,
right.
What we perceive to be happening, but yet something else is the truth of what's really happening?
And how do you know that you're believing in a lie? Well, you're not happy. It's real simple. Because only happiness comes from reality, from what's really going on. So if you're not happy and you're suffering in some way, shape, or form, that's how you know that you're believing in a lie. And the Course in Miracles says pain is proof of self-deception, which means you're believing something that isn't true. And so this section is, the first sentence is, well, how do you overcome illusions? How do you overcome the sufferings, the pains, the problems? Well, you overcome the problems surely not by force or anger, and you certainly don't overcome problems by opposing those problems in any way, but you overcome the problems merely by letting reason tell you that these problems contradict reality.
Exactly.
They can't be reality. They can't be representing the truth, because the only thing that comes from truth is love and joy and peace and abundance. So by virtue of logic here, what reason would tell you is this problem contradicts reality. It can't be really showing me the truth. This problem can't be really showing me the truth. That's how you overcome that problem. But letting reason tell you that.
this problem can't be real because what's real is joyful.
Right.
What's real is abundant. What's real is not lacking, and it's not fearful.
Right.
And so once we, like it says, surely we can't overcome the perceived problem that's not really there by force. In other words, well, if I just twist it this way or get it to go that way or have our relationship do this, I'm trying to force my agenda to bend it to go the way I want it to. When the problem is I'm not recognizing my release is happening right in front of me. You know, it's being set up for my joy to be fulfilled.
That's right.
And complete.
That's right.
Just by me accepting and letting it go as it is, not opposing it in any way. Don't oppose what's coming.
Right.
That's where trust and faith often come in. I have to trust what is reality. Well, if reality is all things are working out for good, then this is making me angry. Well, one of us has to be wrong, either reality or me.
Yep.
Which I'm a part of reality, but my thinking isn't.
That's exactly right. And so problems, which are illusions, go against what must be true. Problems, letting reason tell you that this problem must go against what is really true. That is letting reason tell you that that the problem isn't representing reality. This is not an accurate picture of reality that this problem is showing you. You know, I was experiencing a problem today, and it was upsetting. I was not experiencing joy as a result of this quote problem, and so I was upset because what this problem was showing to me, I was thinking was reality. And then when I said to Holy Spirit, I said, Spirit, what is your interpretation of this? What is your interpretation of this problem that is upsetting me? Literally, Spirit showed me that what I was upset about really wasn't accurate, and that really what really was happening was that I had been released. I had been released from something, and that really what was closer to reality was that I had been blessed.
Right.
You know, I was using the problem to tell me that, you know, that I was being oppressed, not released, not blessed. And Spirit showed me that the way I was seeing this problem was contradicting what was really happening in reality, which is that I had been released and I had been blessed.
And that's always. That's not just, always the case. And as Anna said, how do I know? Because am I angry? Am I trying to now control things?
Am I defending myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And right after I asked Spirit for the correct perception, literally I walked back in, and that problem was completely it was completely reversed. Literally, there was no problem. When I walked back into that situation, there was no problem anymore. There was nothing but appreciation and love, you know, with this person that I had this misperception with. Literally, as there really was no problem.
And there's the miracle.
And there's the miracle. And how did I get that? I used reason to tell me, first of all, to ask for a higher perception. I asked a higher mind, what is reality here? Obviously, I don't know what reality is because I'm upset. I don't know what's really going on because I'm upset. So I asked a higher mind, what is really going on here? And what Spirit told me was the exact opposite of how I had been interpreting it, which was leading me to want to defend myself.
Right.
You know, and when I allowed that new perception, and I wasn't upset. My upset immediately lifted. I turned around, walked back into that situation, and there was no problem anymore.
Right.
And I didn't say anything to that person. Nothing physically changed.
You did nothing. You didn't have to control nothing.
I didn't have to confront anybody. I didn't have to defend myself. I didn't have to do anything like that. All I had to do was turn to spirit. All I had to do was let reason tell me if I don't like the way I feel right now, I must be misinterpreting this. I must not be seeing what's really going on, what's reality, what's really going on. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I acknowledged that, as soon as I let reason tell me that, I got the new perception of what's really going on. And what was really going on was no loss. It was nothing I had to defend myself. Really, what was really going on was that I had been blessed. I had been released. So, all right. So, the opposition that you're experiencing is coming from the problem and not reality.
From the perceived problem.
Right. The opposition is coming from the perceived problem and not from what's really happening.
Yeah.
What's really going on.
The opposition comes from our misassessing the situation.
Yes.
Which we're always doing because of our belief system that things just don't work out. You always have to be lurching around looking for the problem. Mm-hmm. We've been trained since we were born to look for the problem. Look for the problem, look for the problem, mm-hmm. look for the problem. And once you recognize the problem, because it's out there, mm-hmm. it's looking for you. The problem is hunting you down. Mm-hmm. And then we're trying to change that mindset to, no, problems aren't trying to hunt me down. My old belief system is trying to hunt me mm-hmm. down.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And the truth is that reality opposes nothing. So reality is not a problem. Reality isn't having a problem with anybody. Reality doesn't have problems. So reality doesn't oppose anything. Reality isn't defending itself. Reality isn't ever attacking anything. It's not ever defending itself.
It's not getting vengeance.
And that reality is never trying to prove something or get vengeance or get justice. Reality opposes nothing. Reality ain't got a problem with anything or anybody. So reality is always cool. Reality is always peaceful. Reality is always loving. Reality is never looking to pick a fight. Reality is never feeling like it's got to defend itself. Reality is always peaceful. That's how reality is. Reality is always cool.
Yeah, reality literally recognizes nothing offensive.
Right.
Nothing.
Not upset about anything.
Not upset about anything.
Not hurt about anything.
Imagine living in reality, which is available to us now. Mm-hmm. We don't have to wait.
It's reality.
But we can live in reality now, wherein there's no more mm-hmm. things to fret about, to worry about, mm-hmm. to be concerned about, to be fearful about. And it seems impossible in the world that we live in, but yet that's the only world there really is. Mm-hmm. We're making up the other world, mm-hmm. which is an illusion, which is a lie, which is coming through what? Our interpretations.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Our interpretations are seeing things in the situation that are not there, that are not really happening. That's right. What our interpretations are doing. And the conflict is coming from our interpretations of what's not really happening. That's what the problem's coming from, not from reality. Okay. So reality opposes nothing. Why? Because what merely is needs no defense. And what merely is, reality, offers no defense.
Just gratitude.
Yeah, reality don't need any defense, and reality doesn't offer any defense. Why? Because reality merely is. There's nothing to defend. Okay? So, only what's not true, only what's not really happening, only illusions need defense.
Only a lie.
Only lies need defense.
You know, when you tell a lie and all of a sudden now you're defending it with more lies.
That's right.
The illusion defends itself with more illusion.
That's
because
right.
if you ever notice, once the problem creeps in, doesn't it bring its whole family with it? You know, and here's my cousin problem. Because of this problem, now that's going to be a problem. And
Right.
because that's going to be a problem, now these 5 things here are going to be problems. And it just goes on and on. When
really it's the defensiveness that's really making the problem and keeping the problem going.
Exactly.
You know, when you know the truth, and when you're standing for the truth, you don't need any defense. You know, it's only the lies that need defense. And so, you know, like you're saying, you know, when you are not telling the truth, you tend to be way more defensive.
Right.
What's that line from Shakespeare? Methinks thou dost protest too much. Right. It's like your defensiveness is giving you away.
Right.
Because when you know you are not lying, when you know that what you're saying is the truth, then you don't.
You're confident.
You're confident. You don't have to be defensive. When you're defensive, it means you're feeling weak. When you're defensive, it means you don't really believe what it is that you're trying to get everybody else to believe.
Right.
You know. So it says only lies, only untruths need defense. Why? Because of weakness. And so what isn't true, illusions, lies, they need lots of defenses because they're not true. So what's not true needs defenses. What is true doesn't need any defense.
Yeah, and so when we come up with this story, our interpretation in our relationship, which makes me angry, which makes me want to control things, you know, when we come up with that, then we're going to come up with defenses, which means verdicts, evidence to support my made-up story. Well, that's why you came in late, isn't it? Well, that's why you said it in that tone to me, isn't it? And so we have all these defenses now that we're coming up with to support the lie. The lie that was never true to begin with. And then you're in a big fight.
That's right.
Over what? A lie.
Yeah, the one who's lying is in a much weaker position than the one who's telling the truth.
Common sense.
That's right. And so what is not true is weak. What is true is not weak, and it doesn't need any defense.
Yeah, if you're making a battle plan based on a total fabricated lie, wouldn't that be a pretty weak battle plan? Because you're responding to what's not even happening.
That's right.
That's pretty weak.
That's exactly. Illusions need defense because of illusions' weaknesses. And how can it be difficult to walk the way of truth when only weakness interferes?
Thank God.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? In walking the way of truth, the only thing that interferes is weakness. Is weakness powerful? No, it's weak. Okay, well then why do you need to worry about it interfering with truth? You know, weakness is weak. You know, it's not strong. So you are the strong ones in this seeming conflict, which means you need no defense. So isn't that beautiful? The Course in Miracles is telling us that who we are doesn't need any defense. I don't need to defend who I am, because who I am, what I am, is strong. And in this conflict between us and illusions, us and lies, us and the ego, we are the strong ones in this seeming conflict.
Jerry says, reality has always been cool before you and it still is. Yeah. Reality's always been cool. It's always been good. It's always been something to be thankful and grateful about,
Mm-hmm.
and it still is. It's not all of a sudden things are just that way now. It's always been that way.
Exactly. That's right. And you, who you are, what you are, is not an illusion. It's not something that is weak. And so who and what you are needs no defense. You don't need to defend yourself against who and what you are. So that's what A Course in Miracles is telling us. Everything that needs defense, you don't want. Wow. Whatever needs defense, you don't want, because whatever needs defense is weak. Only what's weak and untrue needs defense. And so that means that whatever needs defense, you don't want, because it's weak and untrue. But you, who are part of truth, you who are true, your essence, your spirit, you don't need to defend yourself. And everything that needs defense you don't want, because anything that needs defense will weaken you. Anything that needs your defense will weaken you. What is it that you've been defending today? Whatever it is that you were defending yourself around today is weak, will weaken you. So when I found myself being tempted to be defensive, I was revealing to myself the attitudes and beliefs in me, in my mind, that are weakening me.
Right.
That I was like, oh, look, I still believe that, I still believe I'm guilty. I still believe that, that I'm doing something wrong. I still believe that I deserve punishment. When I was tempted to be defensive today, I was really seeing what thoughts in my mind are still weakening me, that were there unconsciously, but were being brought to the surface by what I perceived to be an attack, which was an illusion.
Monica gives an interesting story of how we perceive things. If I was in her shoes, I'd be feeling the same way, that my daughter's boyfriend moved in and they got 2 kids, and, what is going on? What's this situation creating for me?
Right.
And it's very, very tempting to want to control the situation.
Which means to be defensive.
To be defensive, and rather than, doing that little willingness that the Course teaches us all. I dealt with my own today, but I don't feel like I did very well with it. Where I felt like I had to defend myself. But, that's the learning lesson that we're here learning in life school, is learning how to turn it over to Spirit and going, this situation's making me angry, or this situation doesn't seem fair, or this situation doesn't seem to be working out for good, or blah, blah, blah. And by just, confessing your sins is to tell Holy Spirit, this is how I see it. And but I love that simple line, but how do you see it?
Right, how, exactly. I am upset, so I must be seeing something that isn't there.
Right.
I must be seeing, what is not real, what isn't really there. And so, Spirit, what is reality in this situation? What is really going on in this situation?
Yeah. Because I'm so focused on what isn't going on,
yes.
I can't even begin to see what is going on.
Right. It's like, I'm not seeing what's really going on, I'm upset, and then I'm going to defend myself against what is not really going on. So now I'm like twice removed from reality.
Right.
Not only did I misperceive, I saw something that was there that's not there, and what is there I missed. Now I'm going to defend myself against that illusion, and now I'm twice removed. from reality and from peace and joy. So I love that idea that anything that needs defense will weaken you. So anything that calls upon you to defend yourself. You need to defend yourself. You need to defend yourself. That blah, blah, blah. Whatever belief that told you need to defend yourself is a belief that will weaken you. That is weakening you, because who is the one who is in a weaker position? The one who realizes they don't need to defend themselves, or the one who's being all defensive? Who's the weaker person in that situation?
The one that has to defend themselves, and they're not thinking rationally.
Right. When you're in a defensive position, you are not in a rational state of mind, which means you're not going to be behaving very effectively at all, or powerfully.
In poker, they call it playing on tilt. Mm-hmm. The person just lost a big hand, and it's often that same person will come right back in the very next hand, no matter what cards they get, because they're angry.
Right.
And now that they're angry, they're making irrational decisions. And other poker players that recognize it go, oh, that person's just betting a lot because they're angry, so they're making irrational decisions, so they don't take them very serious.
Right. I love, that's a great term. What did you say?
On tilt.
What on tilt?
You're playing on tilt.
Playing on tilt. I like that. Playing on tilt.
Playing on angry.
The Course calls it now you're trying to restore your wounded self-esteem.
Oh.
Yeah, and whenever you're like, ooh, my self-esteem was hurt, now I'm going to try to restore my wounded self-esteem. I'm going to be defensive. Nothing good ever comes after that.
No.
Yeah, it's like, right, because you're playing from a weakened perception. You're playing from a belief that you've been weakened.
Right.
And so, now you're going to...
And that's what you're putting out there.
That's right, and that's what you're putting out there.
And then you get all this weakness experience back in your life, journey, and you wonder where all this weakness is coming from. It's because we're putting it out there in our defensive.
That's right.
What's that name of that deal? In my defenselessness?
In my defenselessness, my safety lies.
Right. And
also in my defenselessness, my strength lies. So, it makes me think of, the great teachers throughout time who have done the practice of nonviolence, resistance through nonviolence. So, talk about Martin Luther King and Gandhi and Jesus. We're talking about people who have made profound changes in the world. Well, they did that not by being defensive,
right?
Not by fighting back. They did that by not fighting back, not defending themselves. And the Course in Miracles says that when you choose not to defend yourself, you are calling upon the strength of your true self. You're calling upon the strength of God. When you don't defend yourself, you're calling upon the strength of God in you. And so, really not defending yourself is how you express true strength, ultimate strength. So.
I can't even imagine Creator God, if God were in form, so we could picture the story, jumping off this throne as fear or anger is barging through the kingdom doors to attack God, and God needs to draw this sword and defend God's own self, like God would even need to war to defend God's own self. Why would God need to defend anything that would come against God, which is true?
And us too. Why would a soul created by God, an unfailing power, need to defend themselves? Like, why? That's what the Course in Miracles is asking us all the time. Why do you, created by God, who is not a body, cannot die, cannot be hurt by anything, why do you need to defend yourself? You know, you are not a body that needs defense. The body needs defense, but you don't. You're not your body, the Course in Miracles teaches us. So the truth is that who we really are doesn't need any defense, because who we really are as created by God is not weak, and it doesn't need defense. The truth doesn't need any defense. The truth isn't weak. Okay? Which means if you are defending yourself, you feel weak, which means you don't know the truth about yourself. That's what it means when you feel weak and feel the need to defend yourself. It means you don't know the truth about yourself, because the truth about yourself needs no defense.
Yeah, could you imagine a football game, and on one side you have what's true, and on the other side you have what's not true. And they're going, oh no, what's true, their defense is breaking down, and what's not true is breaking through the line. How can what's not true ever break through anything? It's not true.
Right.
So it has no substance, no power, no strength. It's what's weak.
Yes, exactly. And our ego, the ego is weak.
Right.
You know,
completely.
so we don't need to fear the ego. The ego is weak, and we who are created by God are strong. That's why it says here that you are the strong one in this seeming conflict.
Right.
What conflict? The conflict where you feel like you need to defend yourself.
Right.
That conflict. You know?
Even though you don't think you are.
Right. You are the strong one, not this problem that seems to be attacking you.
Right.
That you are the strong one in the seeming conflict, not the problem, not the so-called attacker. Okay. Beautiful. All right. So that was paragraph 1. So consider what the ego wants defenses for. Okay. Or you could just say yourself. Consider what you want defenses for. Well, what do we want defenses for? Well, always to justify what goes against the truth. That's the only thing that the ego wants defenses for. To justify what goes against the truth. To defend against what flies in the face of reason. The ego only wants defenses for what flies in the face of reason and for what makes no sense. Okay, and can defending what goes against the truth, flies in the face of reason, makes no sense, be justified? Can defending that be justified?
Heck no.
Can defending what is not true be justified? What can defending what goes against the truth and flies in the face of reason and makes no sense, what can that be except an invitation to insanity to save you from the truth?
Yeah. It can only be saving us from sanity for us to let go of fighting for what's not true.
Yeah.
Not only just looking ridiculous, you know, staying up in our own courtroom, fighting and fighting and fighting. But she said this, well, he did that. Fighting in our relationships for what's not true.
Yeah. And that's the definition of insanity. That's an invitation to insanity.
Right.
To justify what goes against the truth and flies in the face of reason and makes no sense is an invitation to insanity to save you from the truth. So if you're going to be defending what isn't even true and makes no sense, what's really going on is that you're wanting to be saved from the truth by insanity. That's what's going on. And what would you be saved from but what you fear? Belief in sin needs great defense and at enormous cost.
And what is sin? Sin is obviously something is wrong. that's what a sin is. You know, the person dressed wrong, so they're sinful. Well, they talked wrong, they cursed. Somebody had to do something wrong, and other words for there to be sin. Mm-hmm. And for somebody to have done something wrong, that's going to need great defense. In other words, evidence. Mm-hmm. That's where the defense is our evidence. Well, here's a photo of how they were dressed. Look at this. Mm-hmm. Well, that's your defense against the truth, which is they were dressed just fine. Mm-hmm. Why are you going into insanity looking for what's not there? The way somebody was or acted or the overall situation of what's going on. And there's where the problem is, of course, because we believe so much that we know, we're smart, we know what should be happening. You know, we're the author and finisher of what's going on.
So we believe.
And so we can recognize when things are out of whack, we should have turned right there and we went left, you know, but, oh Lord, guide my life. Oh, wait a minute, we went the wrong way here. And so now I'm going to pull up my evidence of why we went the wrong way. I'm going to defend, well, last time I went this way, I got hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's why we're going this way again. So you can see that you're not getting hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're saying that the only thing that needs defense is illusions.
Yeah.
And the ultimate thing that is an illusion that needs great defense is the belief in sin. That is something that is not true, that needs enormous defense because it's not true. The only things that need enormous defense are the things that are not true. And so belief in sin needs great defense and at enormous cost. What kind of cost? Well, everything that love offers you must be defended against and sacrificed in order to believe in sin. Mm-hmm. That kind of cost. Mm-hmm. That's the cost of believing in sin. What's the cost of believing in sin? Well, everything that love offers you has got to be defended against and sacrificed. Mm-hmm. Does that sound like a good price to pay? What in the world do you think is worth sacrificing love and defending against everything that love is offering you? And the reason is because sin, the belief in sin, is carved into a block out of your peace. That's what sin is. And sin is a block. Sin is carved into a block out of your peace and laid between you, and peace's return.
Yeah, I was at peace, and now I'm going to have a piece of that carved out of me because things aren't going the way I think they should be. Mm-hmm. And so it's been laid between you and its return.
Yes.
Between you what? And your peace.
Exactly. And now there's a block, a big old carved block that is between you and your peace.
Which is called my interpretation of the matter.
All just to believe in sin, mm-hmm. which is your interpretation of the situation. You know, if I'm upset about the situation, then somehow I am interpreting it as guilty. I'm right. Interpreting it as sin. You know, that's why I'm upset about it. You know, this is terrible. This should not be happening. This is sinful. This is guilty. I can't believe they did that. What's wrong with them? They should be ashamed of themselves. You know, that's what it means to believe in sin. And all of our upsets that are really illusions are centered on the belief in sin. Like, mm-hmm. if I didn't believe in sin, then I wouldn't see this as a problem. I wouldn't be upset about this. I would see it as it is nothing. I would see it as it is nothing that has any power over the truth, over reality. and I wouldn't be worried about it. I wouldn't be upset about it. So all of my upsets come down to I am believing in an illusion called sin and guilt. I'm believing they are guilty for what they did, or I am believing that I am guilty for what I did. Okay? And when you are believing in a lie, then it's like you're saying, I don't really want to be peaceful or happy.
Yeah.
I want there to be a big, gigantic block between me and the happiness I say I want.
Yeah, my peace is not very valuable. I'm willing to give it up for this lie.
About guilt.
About guilt.
Theirs or mine.
And I like how you pointed that out, that beginning of 5, belief in sin. That's what sin is.
Right.
A belief.
It's just a belief.
It's a belief.
It's an illusion.
I have a belief in guilt. And the evidence is in this perceived problem, I see guilt there, which means something's wrong. Right. Something's not right.
Something's guilty.
That's why it's guilty.
Something's guilty. You know, either they're guilty for what they said or did, or I am guilty. And remember, it started talking about illusions, and then it starts talking about beliefs.
Right.
You know, and the ultimate illusionary belief is the belief in sin. Sin is the belief that there is guilt in reality. The belief in sin is the opposite of reality. And so, because the belief in sin isn't true, it's not real, then it needs enormous defense and at enormous cost. Right. Because it's not real. In other words, to believe in guilt, somebody else's guilt or your guilt, you're going to have to work at it. You're going to have to make something up. You're going to have to defend against reality, and you're going to have to defend against everything love offers just to believe in that lie. You know, it's like, but is your peace really worth, you know, giving away for a lie called guilt? I mean, do you really want to give away your peace for something that's not even true? Do you really want to? Evidently. Do you really want to give away all that love is offering you just to believe in something that's not even true, never has been true, like guilt? Do you really want to give all your peace away? Take
your story, for example. At the beginning, you had a block of your peace cut out.
Yes, there seemed to be a block between me and my peace.
And then, when you gave it to Holy Spirit, what the beginning of the Course teaches us is that the purpose of the Course is to remove the block from our awareness of love, or you could say peace's presence. And so it's there. We're just not aware of it because we're distracted by all these defenses that we're trying to formulate to prove that reality is not real. No, it's not real. Things aren't working out good. Look at this evidence I have here in my relationship story. How wrong this is. Reality is not real. I'll prove it to you. Look at all this evidence. I got this evidence. I got that evidence. We got this going on in the world. This in my relationship. Then this at my job. This in my bank account. And not even realizing that's what I'm putting out there. And that's going to be my return. At least not in reality what's real, but in my dream state.
Yeah. It's so, when you look at it like this, it's so amazing, it's so incredible how much I value everything more than my peace. How much I value illusions, lies, things that aren't even true, aren't even happening,
and fight for them
more than I value my peace. And I'm willing to sacrifice my peace for something that's not even true.
That's how insane we are.
That's the definition of insanity.
Right.
That's the definition of insanity. You know, I'm willing to give up my peace and be all upset and defend myself against something that's not even true. You know, something I shouldn't even give two thoughts about.
I'm going to fight for this lie so I can stay angry.
And that's what's really going on. I'm willing to sacrifice my peace for an illusion because I want illusion. I want, what does it say? I want the insanity. It says, if you're gonna sacrifice your peace for an illusion, what is really going on except you're inviting insanity to save you from the truth. You're afraid of the truth. If you're going to sacrifice your peace for an illusion, that means you're afraid of the truth. You would prefer insanity because that you understand.
Right.
That you're familiar with because you made it. So, I didn't make truth, and I don't even know what truth is, so I'm afraid of truth. But insanity, that I know well, that I'm familiar with. So I know my way around the insanity, so I'm going to go with that. Mm-hmm. Even though it sucks. Insanity never feels good. Insanity never makes you happy. That whole ignorance is bliss thing is a lie. That's an illusion. There is no bliss in ignorance.
Right.
There is no peace and joy and love in insanity. Insanity means that I have put a big old block between me and my peace. That's what it means to be insane. I don't have my peace. Right. I'm out of my mind. Okay, says because the belief in sin is carved into a block out of your peace. And this belief in sin is a big old block that you laid between you and the return of peace. Yet how can peace be so fragmented? Peace is still whole, which means nothing has been taken from peace. Isn't that interesting? Mm-hmm. And you could say, yet how could your peace be so fragmented? Your peace is still whole, which means nothing has been taken from your peace.
Right. This interpretation that I have going on at my workplace, mm-hmm. or, in any of our examples that we bring up, is what? Is trying to prove that my peace can have part of it taken.
That's right.
When reality says mm-hmm. not even a small sliver mm-hmm. of my peace can be taken. Yeah. Even though the story seems so real that it's mm-hmm. taken my peace, that's just a belief. I just need to give that belief up, right? So that my peace can remain whole.
Yeah, I mean, today it was like I was believing that someone could steal my peace, like my peace could be fragmented. Mm-hmm. He says, but how could peace be so fragmented? The truth of the matter is that my peace had not been taken from me, and my peace was still whole. Mm-hmm. There was, nothing had happened to my peace except that I turned my own back on my peace for an illusion, for a lie. Mm-hmm. I did that, but my peace was still whole. And as soon as I came back to my right mind, there was my peace.
Then you could see it.
Yeah, my peace was all still there. My peace had not been, no peace had been, no part had been taken from my peace.
And then, as you said, you literally experienced it, mm-hmm. because now that's what you're putting out there. Mm-hmm. You're not putting out that condemnation energy, that judgment, that giving up guilt. Vibration, mm-hmm. for it to resonate back into your experience.
That's right.
Now what comes back is peaceful, is loving, is kind, is gentle.
I mean, that's all. Fun. That was all that was there. It was just all peace. Nothing of my peace had been taken from me.
Right.
And so the only thing that happened was that I returned my mind back to reality. It's not like, oh, some peace had been taken from me and I went and I took it back. It's like, no.
Got that peace back.
Give me my peace
back. It was stolen for a little while.
It stole my peace for about 5 minutes. So I didn't have to go get my piece as if it had been stolen. It had not been stolen. The only thing is that I returned my mind back to sanity, back to reality.
The truth.
Which, and when I returned my mind back to reality, there was nothing missing. There was nothing but love, and there was certainly nothing to defend against. And that's what A Course in Miracles calls a miracle. All right. So, paragraph 3. See how the means and the material of evil dreams are nothing! Exclamation point. What do you mean, the means and material of evil dreams, which means defensive dreams, attacking dreams, are nothing? What do you mean?
False interpretation.
That's right. See how the means and the material of angry dreams are nothing. In truth, you and this person stand together with nothing in between you. The means and material of your angry dreams are nothing. There's nothing standing between you and this person. Nothing at all. Except an illusion. God holds both of your hands, and what can separate whom God has joined as one with God? If God has joined you guys as one with God, I don't think that any of your little old illusionary grievances are going to separate you.
None of my lies about what's going on
exactly.
can really separate us.
None of my grievances.
Because they're not true.
That's right. And God is our hands are held, and our hands are held with God's. So no little silly old grievance about something that's not really true is going to separate us. It is your Creator whom you really are defending against. You think you're defending against that person and what they said or did or might do in the future, but really whom you're really defending against is your Creator. That's whom you're really defending against. Yet it remains impossible to keep love out. So we're not really defending against them or that. We're really trying to keep God out.
Or what's true out.
Yeah, or what's true out. We're just trying to keep what's true out.
Because what's true is still really happening.
Right.
What's true is happening.
Yes, exactly.
What's not true is our interpretation of what's happening.
Yes, exactly. And so I'm tempted to defend myself against what they've said or did, but the truth about what they said and did is that they're not defending against me. They are just trying to keep the truth out. They're not defending against me. That's not what they're really upset about. I was reacting like what they said they were upset about is what they were upset about. That's not what they were upset about. They are trying to keep love out, and I am just the symbol of that, right? It's not that I did anything to them. They're trying to keep love out, which means now I've got to go.
Yeah, that's great, because that's now being aware of what our brothers and sisters are suffering from.
Yes, right.
Is they're suffering from their own faults interpretations of what's going on as well. And then we, like you said, we react to that.
We take it personally.
Of them reacting wrongly.
Right.
And now we're reacting wrongly, and you got two wronglies reacting together, and now you have not only insanity meeting insanity, you have chaos.
That's right.
And somebody has to be the stronger of the two to recognize, hey, okay, I'm not seeing right either.
That's right, exactly.
And they're not seeing right, but I'm not going to attack them for it. I'm not seeing right either, but I'm going to be the one that at least is aware of it and take it to spirit and say, how do you see it?
That's right.
How would you respond here? And it's always going to be different than the way I would have responded, because I would have responded seeing the situation totally messed up and wrong, rather than seeing how it's really, this is all helpful.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Like the Course says, the person who is the saner of the two at the moment that the threat is perceived,
right?
That's the one who should remember their indebtedness to the other one and be glad to pay their debt, and then give that instant to Spirit on behalf of both of them, both of you, so that asking that peace and sanity return to both of you as one. So it's really just whoever's the saner at the moment that the threat is perceived.
Yep.
And that'll be different from time to time, from incident to incident.
And then you save you and your brother or sister.
That's right. And then when you are insane, then somebody who is a little more sane than you will ask for sanity and peace on behalf of you and them when you need it. But that's how you guarantee that when you're insane, that somebody else will ask for peace and sanity on your behalf as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the truth is that it's not them you're upset about. It's not you they're upset about. It's our Creator that we're both defending against.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to keep God out. I'm trying to keep God out, but I'm telling myself I'm upset. I'm trying to keep you out. I'm trying to defend against you. I can't believe I need to defend myself against Greg. When really, it's not Greg that I'm trying to keep out or defend myself. It's God, which means truth and reality. Love that I'm trying to keep away from me. My friend was not defending really against me. She was trying to keep love out. Mm-hmm. And I'm just the projection of that. She's afraid of love, and so she's afraid of me. Just like sometimes when I'm afraid of love, I'm afraid of my friends, and I think that I need to defend myself against them. Okay, so, but it remains impossible to keep love out. So, as much as you're defending against love in the form of defending yourself against others, you can't keep love out, especially since you ask love to come in. And the reason you can't keep love out is because love, God, rests with you, in quiet, in you, undefended and wholly undefending. Why? Because this quiet state of being undefended and wholly undefending, this quiet state alone is strength and power. The only state that gives you strength and power is a state of mind where you are quiet, which means undefended and wholly undefending. That's a quiet state of mind, and that only that quiet state of mind has strength and power. Because only in the state of mind where you are quiet, undefended, and wholly undefending can no weakness enter. Because only in this state of mind of being undefended and undefending, only here is no attack, which means only here in this state of mind there is no illusions. That's because love rests in certainty. Only uncertainty can be defensive. You're only defensive when you're uncertain. Which, but when you are resting in love,
true,
then you are resting in certainty. And so you need no defense.
Right.
So if you're experiencing uncertainty or you're experiencing yourself as being defensive, which means uncertain, that's how you know that you're not resting in love. You're not resting in truth. You're harboring a self-deception if you are experiencing uncertainty and defensiveness. It means you're believing something that isn't true. But if you're believing only what is true, which is love, then you will have a feeling of certainty, and you will know you don't need to defend yourself at all. I love that. It's a great definition for certainty. I don't need to defend myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to defend. I'm wholly undefended and wholly undefending.
And that's how
I know.
Demonstrate that you're certain.
That's right. And that's how you know that you really do know the truth. You know, you can't be in a defensive mode and go, I know the truth, and that's why I'm defending myself.
And this last line of this paragraph says, in all certainty, uncertainty is doubt about yourself. So when I'm not defending, then I'm being certain of who I am. I'm a child of God.
Yes, guiltless.
I'm safe.
Yes, I'm guiltless.
I'm being protected by whatever you want to call it, the universe, the angels,
God.
the Creator God. I'm safe. And so that is certainty. Uncertainty is I don't feel safe. I need to protect myself.
I don't know who I am.
I don't know who I am. I don't know that I'm a child of God.
I think I'm weak.
Right.
Exactly. I don't know I'm a child of God. I think I'm a guilty body.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's right.
I think I've been abandoned.
Yep. Love rests in certainty. Only uncertainty can be defensive. And all uncertainty is doubt about yourself. Wow. Anytime I'm feeling uncertain, anytime I'm feeling defensive, it's not because there's a real threat out there, I need to defend myself, it's because I am doubting myself. That's why. But how weak is fear? How little and how meaningless fear is! Exclamation point. How insignificant fear is before the quiet strength of those whom love has joined! Exclamation point again. Wow. Before the quiet strength of those whom love has joined, fear is insignificant. So when we have joined in love, which means when we have joined in truth, fear is insignificant.
Right.
I mean, it's one thing to know the truth yourself, but when you joining with somebody else in knowing the truth, that there is some serious power there, which means there is no fear.
Yeah, so if truth is missing, then fear is significant.
Right.
But if truth is present, if love is present, what's really going on is present, is known, then fear is insignificant because there was nothing to fear in truth. Now, we have a lot of defenses against that, but the truth is there's nothing to fear in truth. Again, there's only gratitude, thankfulness, a happy, joyous heart, praiseworthy. That's what's happening when truth is recognized. But when truth isn't recognized, fear is very significant. It's a big deal.
That's right. Yeah, and so when you are joined in the truth with another, fear becomes insignificant in that relationship. As a matter of fact, fear is your so-called enemy. This is your so-called enemy. A frightened mouse, which would attack the universe. That's what fear is. Okay, this is your so-called enemy, a frightened mouse, which would attack the universe. Now, how likely is it that this tiny mouse that's trying to attack the universe will succeed?
Or that my lie about what's really going on that's bringing me fear is going to succeed.
Yes.
When that's not what's going on.
That's right.
How likely is that lie going to be supported? That's
right. How likely is it that something that's a lie, that's an illusion, how likely is it that it's going to succeed in attacking the universe?
That's true.
I love the description of our fears. Our fear, he's describing as a tiny mouse that would attack the universe. That's what our fear is doing. Yeah. Get back! Get back, God. Get back, love. Get back, universe. Get away from me. Get away from me.
Squeak,
Squeak, squeak.
Says the squeaker.
Exactly. That's what our fear is. A tiny mouse that's trying to attack the universe. You know.
I'm going to get you, truth.
I'm going to get you, God. Get away from me, universe.
Yeah.
Stop attacking me.
Get away from me. What's really happening?
I'm going to hurt you, universe. You better be scared. I'm coming after you, universe. That's what our fears are. A tiny mouse that's trying to attack the universe. Wow. And that's us being defensive. You know, whenever we're being defensive, we're being like a tiny mouse attacking the universe.
Yeah.
You know, trying to keep love out. Now, can it be difficult to disregard this tiny mouse's feeble squeaks that tell of its omnipotence and would drown out the hymn of praise to its creator that every heart throughout the universe forever sings as one?
There's that hymn of praise. If I was really seeing what's going on, instead of the mouse story, what's not going on, which has no power, then I would be hearing the hymns of praise of what's going on. Yay, this is happening.
Yay, we have everything.
But I've drowned it out with the squeaks of a lie.
Yes, exactly. The feeble squeaks that would tell of the mouse's omnipotence. The mouse is like, I'm omnipotent.
Fear is everywhere. It's omnipresent.
Fear is real. Be
Not
afraid.
love.
That's right. That's what the tiny mouse is doing. It's feebly squeaking of its omnipotence. How fear is real, fear is everywhere, and be afraid. Okay, that's what our fear is. It's a tiny mouse that wants to attack the universe and is feebly squeaking, telling of its omnipotence.
Well, it tries to drown out the hymn of praise. To praise what? To Creator. Thank God. Thank you, God, for things going this way. Instead, that's drowned out by our fear, by our lies of what we're interpreting as really going on. That every heart throughout the universe forever sings, because every heart throughout the universe is enjoying the same freedom of goodness reigning completely.
Absolutely. Abundance for everyone forever.
Win, win, win.
Yeah. I love it that the universe,
yeah,
the one song that creation is forever singing as one.
Forever sings.
Yes, right.
Thank you, Lord.
Now, which is stronger, the hymn of praise to the Creator that every heart throughout the universe forever sings as one, or the tiny mouse that's trying to attack the universe? Which one is stronger? Is it this tiny mouse, or is it everything that God created? You are not joined together, you two, by this mouse. You are joined together by the will of God. And can a mouse betray whom God has joined? Those sound like slightly rhetorical questions.
Right.
Well, if you only recognized how little stands between you and your awareness of your union with this person, don't be deceived by the illusions that it presents of size and thickness, weight and solidity and firmness of foundation, that which seems to stand between you and this person, you know who. Don't be deceived by the illusions that what seems to stand between you and them presents of size, thickness, weight, solidity, and firmness of foundation. Yes, to the body's eyes, what stands between you and this person looks like an enormous solid body, immovable as is a mountain. Yet within you, there is a force which no thing that stands between you. Within you, there is a force which this thing that stands between you two cannot resist. What this thing, this barrier, this mountain of grievance that seems to stand between you and this person, it only seems to be immovable. The force within you is irresistible in truth. What then must happen when you and this person come together without this thing between you, this grievance? Well, can the illusion of immovability of this grievance be long defended for what is quietly passed through and gone beyond it?
Another rhetorical question.
Another rhetorical question. In other words, when you and your brother or sister come together, when you join in truth, then you will see that this big old giant grievance mountain between you two is nothing. You'll watch the truth and the love that you're joining on, you'll watch it just quietly pass right on through that giant grievance mountain between you and go beyond it. And we've all experienced that when in a relationship there's a big old giant grievance mountain, like Stone Mountain in Georgia. Just big old you're like, there ain't no way that we are moving past, that we're moving this giant grievance between us. It ain't going to happen. It's a giant mountain. You know, no love can get through the giant mountain grievance between us. But when the two people just join on love, then literally that giant grievance mountain between them, the love just goes straight on through that big old stone grievance mountain between them and goes right on past it like it's not even there, because it's not.
Right.
But you don't know that until you and them decide that you want to join on love and truth. Okay.
So what do you think, baby?
Yeah, I think it's time. So we'll just make a mark here in case we want to start here next week. We shall see. What we want to do.
Oh, we just had one more paragraph to go.
I could just read that. We just read that.
Yeah, why don't you do that? I didn't know where that close to the end.
Me neither. So.
We started pretty late.
You did. So, forget not. When you feel the need arise to be defensive about anything. Okay. Now, is this practical or what?
Yeah,
how often?
Totally.
How often a day?
This can be used every day.
How many times a day do you feel the need to be defensive? A lot. So, don't forget. And by the way, this next paragraph, the last paragraph, is the practical application of everything that we've been talking about for the first 5 paragraphs of the section.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone through
the summary.
This is the summary and the application.
Yep.
Right? Okay. Forget not, when you feel the need arise to be defensive about anything, remember what it means is you have identified yourself with an illusion.
With a lie.
Something that ain't true.
A false interpretation.
Something that isn't there and didn't happen. And when you feel the need to be defensive about anything, you are therefore feeling that you are weak because you are perceiving yourself alone. And when you feel the need arise to be defensive about anything, you have identified yourself with an illusion, and you therefore feel that you are weak because you think you are alone. Whenever you identify with an illusion, you're going to feel lonely. You're going to feel alone. And feeling alone and feeling weak and being defensive is the cost of all illusions. You feel weak, you feel alone, and you're defensive. You need to be defensive. You, for sure, that is the cost of all illusions. Not one illusion, not one self-deception, but rests on the belief that you are separate, which means alone. There is not one illusion there's not one self-deception that does not seem to stand heavy and solid and unmovable between you and them. And not one illusion that truth cannot pass over lightly and so easily that you must be convinced, in spite of what you thought that grievance was, that it was nothing. And if you forgive each other, then this must happen. That big old mountain of grievance between you that you thought for sure that it was solid and heavy and unmovable, you will see that it is nothing when you forgive each other. Because it is your unwillingness to overlook that grievance that seems to stand between you that makes that grievance look impenetrable and defend the illusion of its immovability.
Yep. That's why we're always asked to have just a little bit of willingness. What? To give up how I think I'm seeing this.
Yes.
And so it's that unwillingness to overlook what seems to stand between me and my brother or sister, which is my interpretation, my judgment on the matter, that's blocking me from what's true.
That's right.
From my peace, from my joy.
Yes, that's right. And so, and my unwillingness to overlook that grievance that seems to stand between me and them is the only thing that makes it look solid, heavy, and immovable and impenetrable. But as soon as like Greg says, we have a little willingness to forgive them, which means to see them through the eyes of love, then that's all that's necessary for us to realize that it really is nothing that stands between us.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, we finished the whole section.
That's amazing.
It's a miracle.
6 whole paragraphs in one reading.
It's incredible. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining this healing circle. We so appreciate that you've used your very precious time and energy to watch this and to join this healing circle to increase its power to heal everyone all over the world. Thank you so much for that. And if you would like to strengthen this idea going out into the world, then you can like, share, and subscribe on YouTube or share it on your Facebook page as well. And we really appreciate your joining, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Love you.
You guys are awesome.
Awesome.
Yep. Bye, guys.